Hi folks, this is Karim Rao from IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Terminator lab. This is the video number 26. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have been working now for 4 videos on how to prepare our MDT and WDS environment to deploy a large number of PCs with Windows 10 operating system. So we have 100 PC. We need to auto deploy or to deploy Windows 10 to a large number of PCs automatically. So we will use these two tools, MDT and WDS. And we all know that I have been working for 4 videos on preparing this environment using David Brother Barbarius documentation. I have said before that this is a YouTube channel. This guy has already created a wonderful documentation how we can use MDT and WDS to deploy Windows 10 or any operating system we need. And I said before, I will use his lab. I will take part of his lab and use it, and I will try to enhance it, to add more to it, and to complete some steps he didn't do. So we were working now for 4 videos on the prerequisites text for Daniel Brother Barbarius. He was stating what software we need and other operating system ISO images we need to prepare our MDT lab environment. We have already downloaded all of these softwares, and you have already downloaded most of the or all of the ISO images for all of the operating systems we need to deploy. We will deploy Windows 10, Windows Server 2022, and we have already downloaded the capture software. So we all know that the MDT will be working, or MDT will have 2 phases when we are working with MDT. The capture phase, we will install an operating system, and then we will install some software on this operating system, and then we'll capture an image with this software. So we, for example, install Windows 10, then for example we will add PowerShell 7, .NET Frame, and so on, and then we'll capture the image of Windows 10 with this software. Okay, so Daniel have already created a folder called capture programs. These programs will be installed on our captured Windows 10 image, and we have another folder called deploy. This contains all of the softwares that we need to deploy additionally to the captured image. So for example, maybe when you are trying to deploy the captured image, you need to add additional software during the deployment. So Daniel has already stated in his prerequisites text to add additional or to download additional software that may be or that we may need during the deployment of the Windows 10 capture image. Okay, so we have done all of these steps. Okay, we have downloaded all of this software, the previous 4 videos. Okay, sorry. So I have said before that I need, or we can tweak some of Daniel Brother Barbarius steps. For example, this is a large documentation that will take some time, or some long time to download all of this software, and it will take some time and some or different clicks, or it will take some time. So I have tried a method to decrease the time that we need to download all of this software, and also I had made a method to organize this data in this text file. So for example, if you can see here that Daniel, for every software he is telling us to download, he is stating the name of the software, the manufacturer of the software, the version of the software, the language of the software, and the quick install command. So these are all data Daniel have stated in it, and this is I appreciate all of his effort, because this is very good. Okay, so I have seen, or I tried to tell myself, if there is a way that we can do all of this automatically. So for example, I download the Microsoft Edge installation file, and by a script I can tell the script to examine the Edge installation file and extract these data from it. So there is a PowerShell script that you give him the file or the installation file of the program, and then he can get you the short name, the manufacturer, the version, the language. Okay, so this I have already found the script, and I'll show you all how we can do it. As for quick install command, I have found a website that contains a lot of quiet installation commands for different software. I will show you all this website. This is a very good one and contains a lot of useful information. Okay, so this is our two steps. I will show you a script to automate the extract and write of this data to an Excel sheet. And another thing, I will do a script to automate the download of all of this software. So for example, if I need to install, or sorry, I need to download the Edge, I need to copy the link and then go to the browser and then paste it and then go to the Edge website and then choose the version of the Edge, if it's 64 or 86, and then choose the language and other things. So this will waste some time. So I found a way, script, to automate this process and save us at least quarter of the time that we were spending on downloading this software. So today, what I will do, today I will show you three methods or three steps to shorten the time that we have taken in executing or doing this prerequisite text file. So we will do a script to extract info for most of the programs that you are downloading, okay, and a script to download all of this software automatically and save time, and a website that will give me the quiet installation commands so I can use it. Okay, so let's see how this will do. First of all, the first script that we will use to automate the download of the files or the program files or the software, this will be done using a PowerShell module called Evergreen App. So what is Evergreen App? Let me show you all the explanation of Evergreen App. So this is different explanations for Evergreen App from Claude AI, Claude 2 AI. This is a very good AI, by the way. It is even better than ChatGPT, the old ChatGPT, of course, 3.5, and it is free. And we have Google Brad AI, and this is also for the Ping AI. So let's see what is Evergreen App. Evergreen App is a PowerShell module that allows you to easily download the latest version of common applications and software. Key features: provide commands to search for details on hundreds of popular apps like Chrome, Firefox, 7-Zip, etc. Okay, enables specifying options like language, architecture, installer type, release channel. So you can, through the Evergreen App, specify certain software to be downloaded. For example, you need to install or to need to download software in English language. You need to download 64-bit version of the software. You can tell him to download the MSI file, installer type, or exe file, the channel if it is a beta version or a final release version. Download the latest version of an app with simple PowerShell command. No need to manually search for new downloads links every time. So you don't need to give him a URL or a link to download the software. He knows that and he downloads them automatically. And if these links are updated or changed, he knows the changes and gets again the file for you. So you don't need to update the URL links or to search for the URL links manually. Okay, it can be used to keep apps automatically updated on user PCs or servers. So in summary, module lets you search for app release information, filter results by version, architecture, etc., download the latest releases, automate keeping apps up to date. It is a handy tool for admins, and this is, by the way, a tip to install or update common apps on managed computers using the power of PowerShell. The module handles finding and downloading the latest releases. By the way, this is used heavily with Packer HashiCorp, the software that I was using from the beginning of the lab. So this is one description of Evergreen App. Let's go and see what Google Brad has to say about that. The Evergreen App module is a PowerShell module that returns the latest version and download URL for a set of common Windows applications. It is a self-contained module that does not require access to any additional content other than official vendor sources. This is the vendor sources or the sources for the software that he is trying to download. Okay, the module consists of functions including, this is more detailed info about the software, about the module. Okay, get Evergreen App, returns the latest version and download URL for the specified application. Find Evergreen App, returns a list of applications for which the module has a function. So this, you can find an app and we'll see what are the supported apps that this PowerShell module can download. We will see that now in a moment. Save Evergreen app, saves the latest version and download URL for an app to a file. So this specifies the location to save the software. The Evergreen module is intended for use with solutions used to automate software deployments. For example, it can be used to create images with the latest versions of a set of application or to import application to Microsoft endpoint. So this will be used heavily with deployment tools like MDT, like Packer HashiCorp, like Microsoft Endpoint, which was named before System Center Configuration Manager. Okay, the Evergreen app module is free to use. You can download it from the GitHub repository. That is it. And here is an example how to use the Evergreen app module. I'll show you all how we can use it. So for example, this is the command to get, for example, Microsoft Teams. This will return the latest version and download the URL for Microsoft Teams. You can also use find Evergreen app function to get a list of applications for which the module has function to, or the supported apps. Okay, the Evergreen app is a useful tool for automating software deployments. It is easy to use and free to download. Okay, so this is the one for or the description of Google Broad. Let's see the last one, and we can see that every AI gives an additional info. Okay, for example, Claude didn't say to us the Evergreen app commands in details. Google Broad has said to us. Here we can see that Evergreen or Bing AI says to us, Evergreen app is a PowerShell module that returns the latest version and download URL for a set of common Windows applications. The module consists of simple functions to use in scripts when performing several tasks, including retrieving the latest version of an application and compare it against an already installed or downloaded version. So what he do, you have an operating system on a PC, and for example, you have Firefox installed on it. The Evergreen checks the installed Firefox version on your PC and see if it is the latest one, then he will not download anything. If it is not the latest one, he will download the latest Firefox version, and you can tell him to install it as well. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, this is another info. Okay, to download it for local installation or deployment to a target machine. Evergreen is intended to use with solutions that automate software deployment, such as image creation with Packer HashiCorp, importing application into Microsoft Endpoint Manager, validating or auditing desktop images, creating a library of application installers, and submitting manifest to Wingit or Chocolatey or similar. Is there any other info? Okay, so this is what is Evergreen app. Let's see the supported apps, but before that there is another website that gives an introduction. Evergreen is a PowerShell module. This is called Stealth Puppy. It is telling us about Evergreen. Evergreen is a module that returns the latest version download URLs of a set of common applications that we have said before. Retrieve the latest version of an application to compare it against a version already installed or downloaded. This is Ping have get this way. We can see that it got its info from Stealth Puppy. So this is the same. It is repeated. Let's go to the supported apps. Here we can see that these are all the apps. There is 265 supported application. All of these you can use Evergreen app to download it. So these are all of the apps that are supported by Evergreen app. So what we will do in this lab or in this video, we have a script that will download all of Daniel software that was listed in the prerequisites text. Okay, so all of his software that was mentioned here, we'll try to download it automatically using the Evergreen app. So let's go. This is a script I have already prepared to download these apps using Evergreen. So let's first close all of these things and begin describing the script, and then we'll see the implementation of this script. So let's see first. The first line tell us to install module named Evergreen. Scope, this will be installed for all users. So he will go to the internet and install the Evergreen app module. Download and install the Evergreen app module, and then it will import the module or import the commands of Evergreen to the existing PowerShell session that you are opening. Okay, this is the second line. Then the first line, we tell him to get the application Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. This is the first application we need to download. Okay, where object or where the language equal to English. So here we are specifying the Adobe Acrobat Reader DC installation file to be in English language, or the software to be displayed and installed in English language. So this is one thing, or one of the functions we can use, so we can specify the language through the Evergreen app, and then to save it to a path F downloads. So another thing we need to discuss, there is a way you should write, or the name of the application should be written in a certain format, so you cannot type it as you like. This should be written in this format. How I can know the name or how the format of the name of the application should be written, so the Evergreen app can understand that this is Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. So for example, if you type Adobe space Acrobat space Reader space DC, he will not understand. So we need to type it in a certain format. How we can know this format? Very simple. If you go to the website, let me show you all history, and then we can go to supported apps. You can see the name here. This is the table and the name here. This is how the software will be written. Okay, so you can check the name field and see how the software will be written in the PowerShell. This is how it will be written. This is the name of the software. We don't need it. It is the name. As how it will be written in the PowerShell, this is how it will be written. We can see differences. This is the name. It is spaces, but in the PowerShell there is no spaces, and it is written in a certain format. So we need to take care of this note. Okay. So we tell him to download Adobe Acrobat Reader DC English language, but here we didn't specify the architecture. So here he will take the default, or he will assume that you need the 86-bit version of Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. You can specify here another thing, the architecture, so you can add another line like this one. For example, we can write architecture, so we can copy this architecture equal, so we can, let me show you all, we can do this, we can copy this. Okay, so I didn't do this in the lab, so I will type it here, and then we need to type here, let's see, so we need to tell him space, then minus and then space, and then paste. So here we can see, if we see here we are specifying two conditions. The language should be equal to English, and the architecture should be 64-bit. Okay, so because I am installing it on Windows 10 64-bit. So we can see here, if we see another one, we can see architecture, and so we need to put and if we have two conditions. Okay, so minus and space, and then this is the architecture. So if we tell him like that, he will download Adobe Acrobat Reader in English language. This can be Portuguese or whatsoever, and the architecture would be for 64-bit operating system. So this is the first one. And then we will tell him to download 7-zip. Here we can see the architecture is 64-bit, and here 7-zip are in two formats. It's in .exe and in .msi. So how you know that? Because I have already downloaded before. So you can specify here architecture, and then you can add, for example, let's see here, you can add something called, let me show you the command, something called installer or type. See this one? You can tell him by this one equal. This is how you can specify. You can tell him $.type equal MSI or .exe. So you can specify it here. So it will download by default the two versions. It will download 7-zip MSI file and .exe file. Okay, so, and it will save it. And then the third line, to download Microsoft PowerShell. Okay, 7. This is the latest one. It will download the latest Microsoft PowerShell. But here is a trick. There is a lot of versions for PowerShell. PowerShell 7, there is PowerShell 7, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3. So how I can tell him to download the latest one, okay? And all of them are available on the Microsoft website. So here we are telling him a little bit of a trick to download the first line in the Microsoft website. So for example, if you go to the Microsoft website, you will see the first line in the website. It contains the latest PowerShell 7, and then the second line will contain the older version, and so on. So here I am telling him to download the first line in the Microsoft PowerShell download website, and it will be in a descending order. So here I am telling him that the latest version are at the top, and as you descend, the older versions will be down. So here I'm trying to tell him to download PowerShell 7 MSI file. Release is stable. This is not a beta version, and it will download the first one or the first line because this is the latest one, and save it. So as we can see here, there is a lot of options that you can use to customize your download. Okay, so here we can see you can customize the type of the file, the release of the file, the versions of the file, the language of the file, architecture of the file, all of these. Okay, so this is number 3 or number 4. Number 7, we tell him to download Microsoft Edge. Okay, if we go to this file, Microsoft Edge, where architecture is 64-bit, channel is stable. We can see here, this is the not a beta version, and this is the enterprise. You can see another condition, the release. So there is some releases for normal users, and enterprise, this is for deployment. So here I'm telling him to download Microsoft Edge for enterprises because I need to deploy it to a large number of PCs. By the way, these functions or these conditions, architecture, channel, release, this differs from one software to another. So for example, you can find some contains architecture and some doesn't contain architecture. How we can know that? I will show you all how you can see the conditions for every software, what the conditions that you can use with each software. Okay, so here we are downloading the Microsoft Edge with all of these conditions, and then we will download the Chrome. Here we can see this is the Chrome, architecture 64 bits and stable. Then the Notepad++, 64-bit, and the file is exe file. And the Mozilla Firefox architecture 64-bit channel equal. Here we can see there is a little bit different. Here it is not stable. It is renamed latest Firefox version. So this is different. For Firefox, we can see that the channel, it's not stable. It's not verified as stable, but here he is verifying it at the latest Firefox version. So it is named, or we can say that stable is equal to latest Firefox version for this software. Okay, and we can see here that this is MSI file, and it will save it to this location. And we will download the OpenShell menu. This is a software that changes. You can see this is not the normal start menu for Windows 10. This is the normal one, and this is OpenShell software that reshape it to be like Windows 7. So I'm telling him to download OpenShell software, 86-bit version, and the type is exe. There is no 64-bit for this software, so I know that because I already downloaded before. And you can know this. You can, for example, if you need to know if Adobe Acrobat Reader, for example, has 64-bit version, you can know that before downloading it. I will show you all how this can be done. And we downloaded all of this software. Then we can see all of these are needed by Daniel. And here, for example, Microsoft Visual Studio, here we're telling him to download the 64-bit version. And another function appear, or another condition called the platform. Okay, here we can deduct that from the platform. For example, you maybe have some software for Linux, some for Windows. So this platform, another condition, if the software is downloaded for Windows or for different operating systems. So here this is for Windows 32 64-bit, so this is for the Windows, okay, and this is the channel stable, okay, and VideoLAN, this is a media player. we need to download the 64-bit version for the Windows operating system, not for the Linux, okay? And the Oracle VirtualBox, this is another thing, and we tell him to get the stable version, but here we didn't specify the platform. But here I think when I downloaded it, it already downloaded the Windows operating system, or the Windows uh, VirtualBox software. Okay, I think he have seen that he's downloading it from a Windows operating system, so we have downloaded the Oracle VirtualBox version for Windows. Okay, so we can see that all of these lines have saved us a lot of time. We do not need to copy the URL, we don't need to memorize the URL, and all of these functions and conditions help us to customize our download. Okay, so what about the unsupported uh, applications? So maybe if I try to download the SQL Management Studio, it is not already included in the Evergreen app supported apps. So what I will do, for the unsupported software by the Evergreen app, you can write this command: invoke web request .uri, put the URL, and then tell him to save it dash out file, to save it to a certain folder. And out file here gives you the function, or give you the facility to save it to a certain folder and rename it. For example, if you need to rename the downloaded file to another name, you can do this through the dash out file. Okay, and this is will help you if the URL is fixed, it's not changed. Okay, so this will be good if the URL is not changed. So here I'm telling him to download SQL Management Studio, and then to download SQL Express 64-bit, and all of these links you can get it very simple from your browser, or from Daniel uh, prerequisite text file, or you can get it from the browser itself. Okay, and here we are downloading the SQL Server Reporting Service. All of this we have done before. Downloading the big info, we have seen this is the big info. This is the software for the big info. And let's continue the big info, and then we download the report viewer. And here is one thing: these are two files that will be installed with the report viewer. Here we can see that the name of the file here is SQL sysclr types.msi. This will be renamed to SQL sysclr type 86.msi. So I can change the name of the downloaded file. And we can see here, this is the 86 and 64, they are named the same. So I need to differentiate them. Okay, so I'm downloading it and rename it at the same time. And we will continue downloading. For example, here is the deployment, or Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. This is the fix for the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. And we have two links for the Windows 10 2022 H2 English version ISO image, and the Windows 11 22 H2 English ISO image. Okay, and this is for the Windows Server 2022, and then this is the link for the Microsoft Endpoint Manager to get the CM trace. Remember, we have done this before. And this is the Office deployment tool, or this is the file to download the Office 365. We have done this before. And the latest one is the SDK to get the Orca file. Okay, so all of these are script that will save us a lot of time in downloading most of what Daniel needed. By the way, it will not include all of Daniel software that was listed in the prerequisite, but it is most of them. We can go to the supported apps and see if Daniel software is asking is listed in this software. So this is the script. Let's see how this will be implemented. Let's see a video. Here I will close this one, and I will show you a video how this will be done. So this is very simple. We will use a script to download these files, and then we will get the data. Every file downloaded, we can, with another script, to get the data for this file, the manufacturer of this file, the version of this file, the language of this file, and it will be written to an Excel or CSV file. Let's show you all how this will be done. So here is the script. We will open it. Okay, let's open this one, and this is the text file, but I have renamed it to PS1. Okay, and now you are installing the module for all users. So this is very simple. And then it is installed. We need to import the commands to this existing PowerShell session. Okay, now we can begin downloading the different software. Okay, here I am showing you all the folder that these softwares will be downloaded here. Okay, and then the first one is to download the Adobe Acrobat Reader DC, the first one. Okay, we will see it gives us a lot of details. It will tell us the location. It will save the application to, the size of the file, and other details. So let's wait and see. So we'll pause the video. If we go there, here we can see that here is the file, the time this was downloaded, the length, and then this is the file itself. Here we can see this is exe file, and this is 86-bit version. Okay, here you can see how I did know that. See that he have already in the downloads folder created a folder. This is the current version of Adobe Reader, and this is English. We have created a folder and then subfolder and then another subfolder. It is named 86-bit. So here we can see from this info the information, or see we can this from these folders the info about this file. Okay, so it's already downloaded. Okay, we can see this is very detailed, and it is very organized. Here we can see that all of these are downloaded in a certain sequence. Okay, so now this is the first thing. Now we can download the next one, which is 7-zip. You will see that it will download two files. In Adobe Reader, the only available type for the file is exe. For 7-zip, there is two type of files. This is MSI file, and there is exe file. Okay, so this, we can see there is different types of files for different software. You can see these are already downloaded, and we can see also that from this one it is the 64-bit version, and this is the version number 22. So this is a lot of info. We will extract this info and put it in an Excel sheet. Okay, so now we will continue. Now we are downloading the PowerShell, and let's see how he will download the PowerShell. He will download the latest one, which is 7.33. You can check that. You can check this script, try to use it and download the latest version and see if he gets the latest one. Okay, so this will take some time. Okay, you can see this is 7.33 and the 64-bit. Let's go there. This is the stable version, 7.33, 64-bit, and this is the file. Okay, so this is good. Now we can download the Microsoft Edge. So this is running smoothly, and we don't have or it is didn't take much clicks or much time. Okay, and by the way, if you can see here, we didn't specify the language, but here he assumes that this is English, or I think maybe the file itself contains all of the languages. By the way, this can be another assumption. So let's see how he will download it. So we can see everything is running smoothly without any problems. So this is a very good way to update or to have your PC already updated with the latest version of the software, okay, this can work with a small group of PCs, not in a large environment, okay. In a large environment, you can use a Microsoft endpoint or other methods. Okay, so we can see this is Microsoft Edge. I think it will take some time. Anyway, if you go there, we will see we have already downloaded the file, the version, and 64-bit. Okay, this is Enterprise, and this is the version. So we can see everything is downloaded perfectly. Now we can go to the Chrome and then download it. Okay. So I can see very simple way of downloading, and it doesn't take much time, but you need to take some consideration uh, for writing the command and the conditions you need the file to be downloaded. Okay, we can see here the download Chrome standalone enterprise file. As we can see here, it is downloaded in Enterprise, I think, maybe. No, it's not downloaded there. If you are not knowing the location, you can know it from the PowerShell command here. Okay, this is the Chrome. Okay, and then we can continue downloading. Now we can download the Notepad++. Then we can continue. Okay, he already downloaded it. This is very simple. It is 60 or 46 megabyte, 8.5.2. So we can see we have all of the info that we need for the software. Okay, Mozilla Firefox. And then we will go to the OpenShell. So it will take some time. Here is the Firefox. It's already downloaded. Latest Firefox version. Okay, a 64-bit version. And we will continue. Now we will download the OpenShell program. So you can see very simple, and by the way, you can execute all of these lines at one time, but I prefer to do it one by one. Okay, but it can be executed uh, uh, at once or all at once. Okay, so OpenShell, it's a small program. I think it's about 60 megabyte or something. So this will take some time. I think maybe I will pause the video. Okay, here we can see this is the file, exe file, and it is 86-bit. Okay, 37 or 73 megabyte. This is the shell or OpenShell version. And now we'll download the SQL Management Studio. This will take some time because this is a large file. Okay, if you try to execute it, it will take some time. Okay, so let me show you all, or let me pause it. Go there. It's 12 minutes. Okay, so again, here it's already finished. And if we go there, here is the SM or SQL Management Studio. Okay, As we see here from the PowerShell, this is not like Evergreen. It doesn't give us much info, okay, but it is there already. It's done the trick and it's already downloaded. So now we'll download the SQL Management Studio. As we said before, this will be useful if you have a fixed URL, okay, it's not changed regularly. Okay, so now we have downloaded the SQL Server 64-bit or SQL Express. Okay, so we can see that. Now we need to continue downloading the rest of the programs or the software. Now we are downloading SQL Server Reporting Services. Okay, these are all listed in the prerequisites file written by David Brother Barbaris. Okay, so we are downloading the file. It's not that much. And by the way, there is some software like Evergreen, something like Chocolatey. This is also does the same trick. Okay, but I think Evergreen is better. Okay, so you can see this is SQL Server Reporting, and then we will download the big info. Okay, this is a small file. Okay, and we can do here it is. This is the big info, and we will continue downloading the rest. We will download the report viewer and the two accompanied files. Okay, this is the report viewer. This is a small one. This is the report viewer, and the two files will be saved by the name that I have specified. Okay, this is the first one. Here you can see it is named. Okay, here it is 86. This is not its original name. Okay, and we see the 64-bit. Okay, so now we have both of them downloaded. Then we need to download Microsoft Visual Studio. Okay, by the way, for example, Visual C++ and the other things Daniel have stated, maybe they are not supported by Evergreen app, but I think maybe Chocolatey or other modules can download it. You can search for Chocolatey and see if you can use it for downloading files like Evergreen app module. So this will Visual or Microsoft Visual Studio code. Okay, it's already downloaded and it's 64-bit version. We can see that it is already downloaded in stable 1.77.3 64-bit. So this is in stable 1.773. Okay, this is it. This is it. Yes, that's it. Okay. So now we're downloading the Video LAN player or VLC. And we'll see here that it will download 3 files. We didn't specify the file type or installer file type. So VideoLAN have 3 files: exe file, ms file, and zip file. So they are all will be downloaded. Okay, this is the exe file, and we can see it's downloading the 64-bit version. This is 3.0.18. So it will take some time. Okay, this is MSI file, as we can see here, and the zip file. There will be zip file. So if you go and see Here is a zip file. All of these are downloaded at once. So you can see that the file types and some conditions differ from one software to another. And I'll show you all how you can know these conditions or this switches or this command switches. Okay, so now we can go to the Oracle VirtualBox. It will download two files. The guest additions, we have already known this term from the beginning of the lab. It will download the guest ISO additions and the file itself or the installation file itself. And by the way, here is the vbox guest editions.iso, and it will download the exe file. And for Windows, okay, I don't know, it had already chosen the Windows even though I didn't specify that. So this will take some time actually, because this is a large file, and this is the Win. So you can see here it already downloaded the file for the Windows. Okay, so we can see that, you can see there, I think it's, let me show you all here. We can see that from the PowerShell here. This is not there. So it is in stable 7.0.6. And we can see it is the Win operating system, or it is for Windows. Now we download the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit 64-bit version and the update for it. Okay, now we'll download the update. This is the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, and then we download the update for it, the fix. And then I will not download the Windows 10 ISO image or Windows 11 or Windows Server because I have already downloaded before and it will take a lot of time actually. So I have downloaded the fix, and then we have already downloaded all of these. Microsoft End Manager I've already downloaded before. This is a large file, and a lot of things actually. So we will not download the last 4 lines because I have already downloaded it and it will take a lot of time. Okay, so what we will do now, we need to use the second script to get info, okay, or to get the info about these downloaded files. Every file, who is the manufacturer of this file, what is the version of this file, what is the language of this file. All of this will be written to an Excel sheet. So let me show you all file info dot. Here is the script. We need to tell him to go to a certain folder to get or the folder that contains the downloaded files. He will search all of them to get the data concerning these files, the version, the company, the language, the name. Okay, so let's see if we try to implement this script. This is the application details.csv. Let me show you all what this CSV contains. If you go to the F, it's in the root of F. This is application details. So if you open it, actually it gets most of the data for the downloaded files, but not all of them. So he have succeeded in getting some data for some files, and the others he didn't succeed. But 60 or 70% he have got the data. This will save us a lot of time. For example, we can see that here, for example, this is the MDT. This is the version, this is the company, this is the language, this is the name. Okay, so we can see, for example, SQL. This is the version, this is the company, this is the language, this is the name. Some of them, for example, the Firefox, he didn't get its info. Okay, so we will see that in a moment, or let me show you all that some he have got some, but the others he didn't get it. But we succeeded in getting some info. So for example, Microsoft Report Viewer, he didn't get any details about this file. So it depends upon the file if it contains the data needed or not. Okay, so for example, this is for 7-zip. Okay, it is getting this data. We can see, so let's see, we have got about 60% of the data that we need. Okay, so this is a good script. We can use it later. Okay, we can organize the data and then we can use this data to our advantage. So we can see this is one thing, or this is a good thing to know. Okay, so this is one thing, okay, to make sure of it. Okay, so this is good one. So let me show you all another thing. Here we need to do something. If I go and let me show you all here, I will show you all how to get the conditions for a file. For example, if I need to know if a certain file downloaded by Evergreen app uh, contains some switches, for example, how I know to get the Adobe Reader DC, for example, switches. Let me show you all what I mean by that, but wait for a moment. Here I will open a PowerShell session or terminal or Windows terminal. This is in Windows 10 Enterprise version. For example, here I have installed already the Evergreen app. So here I tell him a command, get Evergreen app, and then tell him to get the Adobe Reader DC. Let me show you all what are the conditions that I can, or what are the things that I can customize for downloading the Adobe Reader DC. Let me show you all how I can customize this download by this command. Let me show you all what I mean by that. If we type that and then press enter, here we will see he will get all of the info about the Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. It will get all what is available for about Adobe Reader DC. Okay, let me show you all what I mean by that. So it will take some time. If we pause the video, or let's pause the recording. So let's see here what is the result. Here we can see that here there is a lot of files concerning the Adobe Reader with a lot of languages. We can see Spanish, we can see Japanese, we can see French. See this green info. This is the conditions that you can query Evergreen app with concerning the Adobe Reader. So you can, for example, ask the Adobe Reader DC by version. So you can tell him to get a certain version of Adobe Reader. You can tell him to get a certain language of Adobe Reader. You can tell him to get a certain architecture of Adobe Reader. You can tell him to get a certain name for Adobe Reader. You can tell him to get a certain URL for Adobe Reader. These green things differ from one application to another. Okay, so let me show you all what I mean by that. Just wait for a moment. If you go to the script, let me show you all the script here. If we can try to get it side by side. So what here we can see, here we can tell him s.language. This is here. You can tell him s.version. You can tell him s.architecture. You can tell him s.name. You can tell him s.uri. And this is only to the Adobe Reader. We will see if 7-zip will have different conditions. Let me show you all what I mean by that. If you need to add two conditions, you need just to add minus and space and then add another condition. If you get to get 7-zip, let me show you the conditions for 7-zip. So here there will be a different thing. If you tell him 7-zip 7-zip, okay, and then we need to get this extra quotas and press enter. Here we can see it contains an additional field type. Here you can see it is not here available for Adobe Reader. So Adobe Reader don't give you the option to download a certain type of file because it has only the exe file type. So it will not give you the option to choose from certain installer types. Here you can see that we can use some types, okay? And here we can see these are the links, so it gives you a lot of info. You can use the links, okay? So this is a very good thing. Anyway, so this is one thing also, and you can play with this data. So this is a good thing to play with. We can see other things, for example, like Microsoft Edge. If we try to see what are the available parameters for this software, if you go there and type it, let me type get Microsoft Edge. So I think maybe this is finished already. So how I can get the link for this, I will show you all how you can get the link for example, the SQL Management Studio. I go and type download SQL Management Studio. So let's see SQL Management Studio. Okay, SMSS. So here you go. This is the SQL Management Studio. Okay, and then if you go down and tell him this link or press on this link, here it will try to save the file. Tell him right click and copy download link, then you can go and paste it here. So this is how you can get the link and put it to the PowerShell script. Very, very simple. Okay, you can get most of the links with this way. So this is a very good way to get the links, okay, or the direct download links, and this will be useful if the links are stable or they are not changed regularly. Okay, so this is another method how you can, or this is the trick about how to use Evergreen app. Okay, the last thing I need to discuss with you guys, there is a website called Silent. Let me show you Silent HQ. Okay, this is a website. Okay, through it you can just tell him the software that you need to have the silent or the quiet silent installation command. You can tell him search and he will get you a detailed PDF how you can make the silent installation and how or what are the commands for the silent installation. So this concludes the end of our video. Hope this video is informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.